Today at the 97th Farm Show, I'm here with Secretary Greig, the Secretary of Agriculture. How's the show going this year?
It's going great. Last year we broke all attendance records, and this year it looks like, knock on wood, that we are going to break last year's attendance record.
And that's great. I know last year when we talked, it was just at the very beginning of the show. Now you have one totally under your belt and almost another one. So I'm glad the attendance up must be doing something right there.
Yes, it's a great place to showcase agriculture. And, a lot of people come here for tradition. They've been coming every year for a lot of years. This is the 97th, and there's a lot of history, a lot of heritage here. And any kind of agriculture that you want to look at, you can see here.
I know right behind us is the butter sculpture, and it talks about PA preferred. This year we passed the legislation that with the PA preferred check mark. Tell me a little bit about the butter sculpture and what that check mark means to us.
Well, the butter sculpture is made in PA. It makes a difference. That's the theme of this 97th Pennsylvania Farm Show. And it does make a difference when you buy local, and that's what we are promoting. The PA prefers is buying Pennsylvania products. And when people purchase PA preferred products, they're buying local. The money stays in local communities, and it circulates in local communities and promotes our local farmers.
You know, I'm so impressed when I go in the grocery store now, and I often do see this. I walk in, right in the front door is the stand with PA preferred products. And naturally, I walk over to them and I buy what I find there. I think it's wonderful that happens, so I appreciate you helping us get that into the grocery stores. I'm sure we'll continue to do that. Is that a market plan?
Yes, it is. It just makes sense because, we use less energy, less transportation costs when we buy local, and it promotes Pennsylvania products, which is great.
Talking about farms, another bill we passed in the legislature this year had to do with inheritance tax. And that's something I know farmers are so happy that was passed. Can you tell us about that bill?
That is huge for Pennsylvania farmers. Being a farmer myself, I know that I've known farmers that have inherited farms, young farmers that have inherited farms, and they've had to sell part or all of the farm to pay the property tax. So now the next generation will be able to reinvest that money into their operation, making it more viable, more profitable, instead of paying that inheritance tax.
That is the one bill that I've had thank yous from so many farmers, so I know how important it is to them. The Pennsylvania Ag Department, they do so many things that I think the average person, including I didn't used to know that you did. In the summer, we often have bugs out there, and we don't have as many as we do, and the Ag Department sprays for these creatures that are in the air?
Well, we don't really spray, but we do have the Pennsylvania Invasive Species Committee. I had that up, and we do a lot of research on insects, the stink bugs, a lot of the walnut twig beetles, and a lot of Asian longhorn beetles. So we do a lot of research, and we do a lot of experiments on trying to eliminate some of these pests.
Well, we're glad that you do that. Now, back to the farm show, I think several years there we didn't have the large equipment. This year walking through, I felt like I was back home. We have this large equipment again. I saw the kids crawling over it. I mean, they have to be supervised, but they were still enjoying this large equipment. And I even learned a lot. I know what a tractor is, but then I saw a combine. I thought, let me walk over there. What's the difference between a tractor and a combine? So then you have these screens that talk all about it, tell you what it is. So I think that's great. And I was walking up to the farm, inside the farm show, and I saw these two trophies that said 2012. So you must have won some trophies. So tell me about that.
Yeah, you're talking about the today's agriculture exhibit. We won an international award for the judge's choice for the Today's Ag exhibit. That exhibit portrays what modern agricultural barns look like. So if you go in through that barn, you'll see chickens that are in cages, just like they would be on modern farms, and there's hog pens, just like modern farms, and cattle stalls, free stalls, just like in modern agricultural barn. Now, we got the award for the educational effect because we have so many people that go through there and we educate those people on modern agricultural practices. It gives the people who come here who are not the non-farmers the opportunity to see where their food comes from and how it's produced. And it's just been it's been a great exhibit. And the large equipment that you talked about, it has a lot to do with the ag transportation bills that you helped pass. I know that's been great for farmers because as the equipment gets larger, now it's illegal for us to go down the road until we got brought up into the this century with the ag transportation bills that were passed in the legislature.
Well, that's true because we did talk about large equipment, and it doesn't really hit home till you come here to the farm show and you see how large it is, because I truly was amazed at how large the equipment is now. And talking about that farm within the farm show and the trophies, I mean, I was happy to see that. In the first, when I walked in, they talked about veal, and I know I love veal parmesan. When I go out to eat, I could eat that just about every night, except for turkey on Thanksgiving. However, tell me about veal and the animal, and because I have some friends that won't eat veal because they say that the animal doesn't live that long and it's being cruel, but you know, there's a lot of farm animals don't live that long. I mean, that's the whole idea. We raise farm animals to eat. So could you talk a little bit about that process?
Well, that's why we have today's ag there. It's educational and it shows people exactly where their food comes from. I mean, all food animals are used for our convenience and for our food. And this is a great educational display to bring that to life so that people do know, where their food comes from.
And that's so true here at the farm show. And you're a farmer yourself. I mean, for years you farmed. I think you still live on a farm, own it. Do you actively farm? I mean, you couldn't possibly do that much anymore with what you do here because you're in the part of ag all the time, but you still own the farm?
We still own a 650-acre farm. My brother and I are in partnership. And I spend as much time as I can, which isn't much now. But we do still grow crops, 300 acres of soybeans, and a lot of different crops on the farm. But my brother does most of the work now.
In a couple years, you'll be back, right? But tell me what do you see in the future of agriculture? What's going to happen in the future? Everything changes, and obviously ag has come a long way. But what is happening for the future?
I think that Pennsylvania is prepared for the future in agriculture. Ag is alive and well in Pennsylvania, and we're prepared by farmland preservation. We have almost 500,000 acres in farmland preservation. And during the Corbett administration, we will be going over the 500 million or 500,000 acres in farmland preservation. So we have that. We're already 5th in the nation in dairy production, and we're in the top 10 in so many I can't even mention them all. But I think that ag is so diversified in Pennsylvania. Each county is different. Each county has its own niche, and there's just so many opportunities in agriculture. And I think a lot of it is because of our proximity to the large population centers of the United States. We're within an 8-hour drive of a major portion of the population of the United States, and that gives us a big market for our ag products.
So Pennsylvania is an important state, that's what we're saying. And also the Ag Committee in the House of Representatives is a committee that we all want to be on. So far I haven't been lucky enough to be picked to be on it, but maybe someday I'll make it. The one thing that the Department of Ag does is the dog laws. And I know you've made some laws, or we made some laws about the dogs, and each county has a county treasurer who's in charge of the dog license, and we have the Dauphin County treasurer here. Janis Creason, welcome.
Thank you for having me here. I am so glad this week to be able to partner with the Department of Agriculture's Dog Law Enforcement Office to educate people and inform them about dog law and dog licensing.
Well, tell us a little bit about it, like just exactly what do you, with your job as treasurer, have to do with the dogs?
Our responsibility as treasurer is to issue the licenses for the dogs, and that's what we do. You can have an annual license, which is renewable now, or you can purchase a lifetime license. We issue both of those. We are now offering the licenses online, which is a great convenience for the residents of Dauphin County, and there are 31 other treasurers across the state that are also offering the licenses online. They can go to padoglicence.com and get their license in the comfort of their own home.
Does everybody know that they have to have a license for their dog? Does they question that?
They do. We've talked to a lot of people this week who have said, I didn't know that I needed to have a license. They were surprised by that. And it's really the process of educating people, which the Department of Agriculture is working very hard to do. The dog needs to have a license if it's 3 months or older. So it's very important when you have that new puppy in the house that the first thing you do is either get online at padoglicence.com or find an application online at the Department of Agriculture or at any county treasurer's website and license your dog so that you are not found, illegal with an illegal dog and maybe have a fine or a penalty for not having that license on it.
Now, is there one charge for a dog license, or does it depend on what kind of dog you have?
It doesn't depend on what type of dog you have, what breed, but it does matter whether it's neutered, spayed, or not. So there's a higher fee if it's not spayed or neutered, and a lower fee if it is. So it's important that any breed of dog, whether they're a dog that stays in the home all the time, some people will say to me, well, my dog is always in the house, so I don't need a license. The important thing to remember is that no tax dollars are used by the enforcement office to regulate kennels, puppy mills in Pennsylvania, which we know have been an issue and have been highly debated. There are issues of stray dogs that have to be managed, investigation of coyote damage. All those types of things are funded by the fees that are derived from the licensing. There are no tax dollars used. So it's really the dog community coming together to fund all the things that are important not only to us as dog owners, but also to the community at large. So it's really a very good contribution to a very worthy cause.
I think you brought up an issue. Secretary Greig, you rescued some dogs, or the Department of Ag did. I think you brought them here to the farm show.
Yes, we did.
Could you tell us about that?
Well, from time to time, we will get a report on some dogs or dog hoarding, and when that happens, we will investigate it. We brought those dogs into the farm show complex, had our veterinaries check them out, and we separated the males and females, and took those animals to county humane societies, and in a short time, all of them were adopted. So that we had a happy ending to that, but we had 197 dogs from one county, one house actually.
Wow, well, that's wonderful. I heard you did that. I thought it was a great service, and appreciate that you helped do that.
And as part of our Department of Agriculture display this year, we have a dog warden with a dog in the corner of our display. So we're here to bring awareness to the dog licensing issue and to the fact that we oversee dog law.
I know Janis told me how everybody comes to look at the dog.
The dog is a big draw. The other thing I think it's important to mention is that we maintain a database of all of the dogs that have been licensed, and that number that's on the license can bring your dog home. If the dog would wander or be lost, if someone finds the dog, they can call the number that's on the tag, and then we will match the number to the owner and call the owner and let them know that we have the dog or that someone has the dog, and we can quickly reunite them. We also have a website that's palostdogs.com, and you can register your dog there. You can put a picture of your dog if it's lost or if you find a dog. So that's another great resource. I think about 1,200 dogs have been reunited since that website has been started. So that's another good side of dog licensing.
Well, that's great, and I appreciate both of you being here at the farm show. And I know I'm having a great time this year. Is everybody enjoying it?
It's a great time. Eating too much.
That I think we always do. But thank you so much, Secretary.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Treasurer Creason.